All right. Yeah. So how this process of neural path have are attractions for various sabda, rupa, rasa, gandha lead us toward a path which can be transformed. So our main idea is that with the reference of sadhu, guru, shastras, with their guidance, we should able to aware about the effects of senses, neurons, and we can transform them, we can change them. That is the main idea of these presentations. So you can see that there are various signals that starts from skin to spinal cord, like light touch, deep pressure, gentle touch, or free nerve endings that detect pain and temperatures. They provide glutamate signals to spinal cord, and then it comes to thalamus. Then it forwarded to processing to define the signal. Is it safe, good, or bad? How the body will react to that signals. That processing happens to generate the emotional response to the signal. So it refer from hippocampus memory the histories of such events. What is that happened, from where that signal come, all these somatosensory cortex get. So thalamus is the processor that get all these data, collect this data, and supply it to amygdala. Amygdala process them further to give the definitions. So this is the logical region where logical processing happen in the prefrontal cortex. It will give the meaning whether this is safe, good. Then amygdala forward it for the reward chemicals. Reward chemicals are the five hormones like oxytocin, dopamine, endorphin, serotonin, vasopressin. This dopamine can be for all that is very attractive to the mind, like maybe junk food or anywhere where your attachment, your taste, what you define to be good for you, then dopamine neurotransmitter gets generated. And oxytocin creates bonding, endorphin creates euphoria or pleasure, amazing pleasure feelings, and serotonin give calm, vasopressin give attachment. So here these reward chemicals can be transformed. Means the reward chemicals interpretations can be different for different persons. Persons in three modes of mental nature will behave differently. I will come back to this slide again. So accordingly, these feelings, the body response generates. Some of the images are lost in the design, like heartbeats, the muscles, expansion, contractions. All these happens based on the body response to this uh, signal processing, whether it is safe, good, then what percentage of good, like some are very good, some are moderately good. So accordingly, the reward chemicals releases. So that creates neural networks. Neural networks, like in the brain, there are various portions. Like every portions are having certain neural networks. So whichever area, like you are attached to junk food, so that will be having a strong neural network based on your percentage of attractions towards junk food. Those who are having attractions for study, for research, or something else, so when such topic comes, their neural network and dopamine will release for that. So all this neural network are getting created based on the reward percentage. The higher reward percentage, stronger will be the neural network. When you go in a, uh, memory scan, FMCG, fMRI, all this in MRI scans, you will see those neural networks are activated. When those desires are getting developed, those specific neural networks are getting activated. Means the bioelectrical signals that passes through those neural networks. That is the way of processing. So what happened next? So in this table we can see the pathway, what happens, how this hormones functions, like from skin to nerve, somatosensory systems. These are the structures like Messner, Merkel, Hessinian, C-tactile, free endings. This gives the glutamate signals, which defines the functions of touch, pressures, and pain. Spinal cord to brain, this happen through somatosensory and automatic. The main structures that support this is the dorsal column, thalamus, and the insula. So this actually map what happened, where happened, and what feelings will be developed. Brain's limbic and cognitive region is involved for evaluations that include amygdala, hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex. These three are limbic plus cognitive region. So they checks the safety and meaning of the stimulations, emotions and pressures that are released by limbic plus reward systems. So reward system includes VTA plus nucleus accumbens along with hypothalamus. So they releases these five reward chemicals: oxytocin, dopamine, endorphins, serotonin, and vasopressins. It generates bonding and pleasures. So the body feedback is generated based on this brain evaluations and the the neurotransmitters or hormones, or it can release cortisol as well. If it is fear, stress, the stimulations can be like that. So different hormones are neurotransmitters generated based on these evaluations. So body feedback is that motor plus automatic motor neurons, they provide the signal to heart, skins, muscles. So heart rate can either increase or decrease. They are transmitted through acetylcholine, which triggers the physical response to the stimulations. So this way, the oxidation, dopamine that enhance such activities, which is likened to be more and more by the craving systems or reward system that called addictions. Then how this things is connected to gunas, the modes of nature. Like mind, a person like with same set of neural networks, same sets of neurotransmitters. If you compare, like there are approximately 1000 crore peoples, like 10 billion people in this world. If you compare their brains, the neurotransmitters, you'll find most of these peoples are in equal range of neural networks, right? So equal range of neural network, equal range of neurotransmitters, all this is found in two persons, but their interpretations to the stimulation will vary based on their degree of goodness, passionate, and ignorance. So those whose percentage of goodness are overpowering the percentage of passion and ignorance, or those who are in full goodness, passion zero, ignorance zero, and those whose passions are higher percentage, ignorance and goodness at low, or ignorance at a higher percentage, they will behave differently. So mind, when sattva is prominent, mind can be calm and clear. When full, sattva in full, he'll be fully calm and clear with positive emotions. But rajas will generate agitated emotions. Tamas will generate negative emotions. At a time, you have different places, different circumstances, different thoughts. Adhishtanam tatha karta karanam sa vividas prathak chesta. Davi Chaivatra Panchakaranam. These five reasons, like various places, the thoughts, the active senses, and our endeavors, based on the sanctions of the Prakriti and Lord, act differently at different conscious level. So, however, if one remain guided by Sadhu Guru Shastra, at least remain in goodness. When this goodness is not affected by rajas and tamas, when this goodness is meant to please Supreme Lord by the awareness of the relationship with Supreme Lord, then that is called Suddha Sattva or pure devotion service. So the intelligence, our wisdom and insight should, our good judgment should become our humble, and subtle pride will remain in Sattva. However, in pure goodness, this pride will not be there. Only the realization that I am part and person of Lord, and with that he will be serving Supreme Personality of God. This is how the cycle happens. So how pure devotee behave and how ordinary persons behave differently to the same signals of the sensory perceptions. Suppose certain sensory perceptions comes, one ordinary person attached to sense enjoyment remains in the modes of prominent rajas or tamas, sees everything as his own personal enjoyment, not for the society, not for the human being, not for the Lord. So love and compassion is the driver for pure devotee. Love for Krishna, compassion for every living entity, being part and parcel of Krishna. So love and compassion is the driver. So the emotional state of the pure devotee is love and compassion. So with that, he see all this Krishna's energy will be utilized for the pleasure of Krishna's energy, for pleasure of Krishna and all of his part and persons. So love and compassion is the driver. His only intention to please Krishna. So he remain calm and serene with all such agitatory signals, and he remain in the inner joy and fulfillment of self-realizations. In the other side, you can see the driver or the emotional state of the ordinary persons affected by the such stimulus is having either fear or desire, and he acts for his own benefit, always remain restless and agitated, and that lead him for only temporary pleasures and at the end emptiness. Void. What is that he will take with him after giving up this body? Is that empty, void. In higher planetary systems, like if you go to travel of different country, uh, so people are visiting many places, right? Phuket, Switzerland, many places, like somehow. You need credit card. If your credit card is having balance, you can spend them. But your credit card having no balance, then you cannot spend them. So similarly, going to higher planetary systems need your dharma credit. How much religious merits you have, that is your credit. So there the demigods presence, the authority presence will check your dharma credit. How much dharma credit you have? Okay, you have this much dharma credit, so you can remain in Nandan Kanan for this much days. That's how. But those who waste their time and energy in these temporary pleasures, they cannot get the everlasting pleasure. Even though in their journey, long journey of life after life from one species to other or from Sorga to Matya, they lacks the credits and remain in a void, emptiness at the end. So they cannot attain the liberations and bliss. The principles of own self benefit is not achieved. What is this self benefit you are thinking about for 10, 15 years, or 20 years, or 25 years? What will happen this 25 millions, billions years awaiting for your next journey? So people of less intelligence cannot calculate this. So they remain in emptiness and end their life uselessly. So this path from material to self, spiritual realizations is essential, and the most sublime process is the application of Bhakti Yoga. If a material perceptions that develop ego and desire, that will lead towards the subject matters of attractions, which will in return generate anxiety, kuntha, stress, and emptiness. At the end, nothing that you can get out of it. But when you apply the principles of Bhakti Yoga through Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivruti, and steady devotions, you can transform your consciousness toward pure love and bliss, which will in turn generate peace and fulfillment. Yeah, neuroscience versus how do you control? Yeah, so brain dynamics. Limbic dominance happens through prefrontal inhibitions. How to now this process explains both scientific as well as spiritual applications. These images are made with AI. When you give the prompt that we need this, then need to prepare the images accordingly. So how we can apply our scientific knowledge and spiritual knowledge together? So how can we control our logic? How can we apply limbic control? Prefrontal cortex. This is the front part where prefrontal cortex. It is required for logic and reasoning. At the most aroused state for sense gratifications, a person can lose the control over prefrontal cortex. So prefrontal cortex got shut down at the most peak aroused level of sense gratifications, and a person do not able to control himself or take out himself from such sensory engagements. That is a most important point need to know. However, a person who is practicing self controlled will have a balanced limbic control. He can save himself even from the most arousing or agitating state of sense enjoyments. He can regulate himself, even though you can see the reason that Vishwamitra fell down after practicing yoga for long periods. So that happens. But when a person is engaged in spiritual practices under the bona fide spiritual master, gets the blessings of Guru and Krishna. So usually his limbic controlled are balanced. Means his decisions, his reasoning is given with high importance because Guru is there. So Guru means Guruta, importance. A high importance has been given to the intellectual management through the Guru and Krishna's influences. So when he thinks about Guru and Krishna, the actual limbic controls is balanced through the process of bhakti yoga called buddhi yoga. So the required intelligence is always given by dadami buddhi yogatam jenamam upajanti te. Those who are surrendered, they get the required intelligence. So that's how the limbic control is very essential, and this practice need both scientific understanding about brain dynamics and sometimes practicing under a bona fide spiritual masters under the practice of following the scriptural guidances of bhakti yoga. So this dopamine surge compulsive drive can happen, but for a devotee this dopamine and excitations calm and focus towards restraining from these agitatory materials. Similarly, sympathetic override from neuroscience rapid arousal state to he can go to parasympathetic balance or relaxed regulations. From pleasure seeking, attachment and craving, he can go to as a matter of duty, devotions and higher purpose. Seeing everything is the energy of Krishna should be utilized for the pleasure of Krishna. So this can be the difference of mental intention behind such neuroscientific or limbic dominance or neurotransmittal surges. The final outcome for a great devotee will be maintaining the vitality, clarity, and spiritual energy in getting self realized, self awareness, happiness, as well as the enjoyment of bliss coming through the emotional loving exchange of devotional service. And what is the outcome if we do not follow this path is the temporary satisfaction from sense objects, and gradually that will go towards energy depletion. How much time we have? So this limbic impulse to spiritual regulations I covered here, that our desire and arousal, they should go through the process of conscious regulations through mindful awareness. We can pause and observe the signals. No, suppose you got anger, do not react immediately. Pause, observe, remain silent. Don't react immediately. Then apply your prefrontal cortex control by applying reasoning, restraint. Then gradually your breath will be controlled, heart rate will be controlled, will be calm. So body will be in calm. So then you can think about the higher purpose of the actions, the intentions and choices of actions. At anger state, what choices of actions? And at calm state, what choices of actions? So these all can lead for a spiritual integrations by conscious regulations instead of falling trapped to the immediate signals of the limbic impulses. One can do a conscious regulations to the path of spiritualism. So in the main slide, I told that I'll come back. See, all this serotonin can be the spiritual hormone. The serotonin that can make you calm and your thought being absorbed in the loving exchanges of devotional service. Oxytocin can create bonding with Lord Krishna and the devotees. Dopamine will create reward circuits. Suppose you are attracted to samosa or gulab jamun or rasgulla, but while seeing in the street, your dopamine will say the surge of dopamine will be there, but it will wait to prepare rasgulla at home, or even if you buy from outside, because this milk product you can buy from outside. Milk product as coming from cow, so they are not impurified. Even you can buy from good vegetarian shop, those who prepare very nicely, and offer them to Krishna. So dopamine will not give you that craving that immediately go to the shop, take out and eat, but it will allow you to buy it or prepare it, offer it to Krishna, and then take. So that your intention itself will change. Your intention will not to gratify your tongue, but to think about, oh, this is a nice dish, I must offer to Krishna. Intention itself is to offer to Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna, or then offer to Guru, then take yourself. The prasad comes from Guru and Krishna. That is the regulations of the dopamines can happen. Suppose on the way you are going in the some shop, you saw nice lotus flowers, or in some pond you see nice lotus flowers. Will not go pick, being attached by the fragrance, the beauty of lotus. You are not picking it and smelling directly. Rather, you will think, yeah, this beautiful flower is meant to offer to Lord Krishna. To the then you will buy or pluck that and bring to the temple or your deity at home, offer them, and let it be offered at the end. When you are taking out all the flowers, then you can get these flowers, smell them. So this passions, like, one is immediately try to enjoy, other is that to offer it to Krishna and only enjoy the prasada that comes from Krishna, and he can wait the period of time until it comes as the blessings of Krishna. The patience is there. So dopamine make people impatient for temporary pleasures, but Same dopamine can be controlled through this limbic regulations process by applied Bhakti-yoga by the guidance of sadhu, guru and shastra. So endorphin can give enhanced spiritual pleasures that will be everlasting. So no euphoria can ever last more than few minutes. But when one gets such happiness from spiritual realizations like Sankirtan, you do 24 hours Sankirtan, you will get more enjoyment. More you increase your durations of Sankirtana, the happiness will be increasing, not decreasing. Anandam bodhivardhanam pratibadam purnamruta swadanam. So this is how endorphin will be assisting you in generating spiritual happiness, romancha, kampa, ashru, taranga bhajo. That is the level of satisfaction you can get, which you cannot get with temporary endorphins releases. And serotonin is definitely the spiritual hormone, give you calm, peaceful, and engaged in happiness that develop gradually vasopressions, a deep and strong attachment for Krishna and devotees and Sri Guru. That's how you will be able to transform all these neurochemicals by giving a regulated long practice and a very good meaning to these reward chemicals. That is the process of both top down and bottom up. Bottom up is that your scientific analysis, and top down is that the guidance of sadhu, guru, and shastra together can lead your life toward a peaceful and everlasting happiness. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Hare Krishna. Any questions, Prabhuji?